Good evening, good afternoon, good morning, good whatever the case may be. Welcome to my stream. I'm Zero One. Thank you for joining me. And thank you for answering my call, my cry for attention. I hope you both are doing well, Ducky and Spring. And tonight we are getting back into hardcore Minecraft. And as you can see in the little preview up there, it's or over there. It's I'm already in the game and just kind of running around and in this night. But when last we left off here, we were building a enclosed tunnel effectively to go to the ocean. And so let's hop right back on in and get to it. Yeah, I can see you're awake again. Nerves? Too much energy? I don't know if he still is, but I think he was when I came down here to start this stream. And the music is a little loud. Now, I got in here a little late. It was already dark. And so I expect there are things trying to kill me out there. Yeah, I think Jay's was going for the record for longest straight stream. Admittedly, he'd have to go a long time, a lot longer than 12 hours. But still, it's my suspicion that's what he was going for. Hey, that's not a bad combo. I appreciate your presence, despite the late hour. I just hope you can get some rest tonight. Did you get, well, rather, is the sound, the mic, working? Can other people actually hear you? I'd like to take credit, if I can, for helping you fix that, if it did. And, throw the blame somewhere else if it isn't working. Oh, good. Then I helped. Why, thank you. It's not like I knew what I was doing. I was just telling her to try different things. And some of them may have actually worked. Alright, so I gotta bend my tunnel this way, or else forever be exposed to the elements. You're very lost? Well, I'm glad you did. That was the goal, right? So you could fall asleep? Anybody else might be offended by it, but, you know, I know I know that it helps, so I don't mind. If I have any purpose in this life, it's to help my family and friends. I forget how I got down there originally. Well, then it sounded like it did its job. Or rather, I did my job. Now, last time I was down here, there were zombies, a skeleton, and other big nasties. I don't see or hear anybody. So let's get a little more cobble. Not that I really need the cobble at the moment. I could make progress without getting it. Yeah, I've had it for a few weeks now. I think since my Christmas stream. Well, actually, post-Christmas stream. I'm just trying to do a little more with it, such as building a relatively safe tunnel for me to get to and from the mob farm I'm going to build out there somewhere. There's the village that I spawned near. I'm actually further out from the spawn point, but my home is back that way a little ways. Ooh, what a dark and scary place. But basically, I want to get out there in the middle of the water somewhere and build upward. But I don't want to go over there unprotected, so I'm building this monstrosity. I should actually just go straight out there. But I don't know. I think I'll be too close to land. Yep. Anything I want. I wanted to make sure I had a computer I wouldn't need to upgrade in a couple years. And so I went overboard. It's kind of a problem. I've spent so much money on computers over the years that it's an addiction in its own way. And I need to kind of slow my roll. Did not mean to put that there. The problem with me being a data center technician is that I routinely work with servers that have much more memory than that. And so I sit there and go, well, I suppose I could bump mine up a little bit more and get jealous of a budget I can't compete with. It's close to a RTX 4080 or 4090. Probably 4080. Because I know the 4090 is supposed to be the top level super duper extremist version. And this is not quite the top of the line, but it is definitely up there. Spring has the same in hers in terms of GPU. But yeah, last year I spent probably $6,000 on my own computer. And at least another $2,000 on springs. I don't know. I've I have my own personal issues with Nvidia, but that's beside the point. Their numbering seems to just go all over the place. Like I don't know why a 4070 Ti is faster than a 4080 or whatever. And then you get the supers and all this other stuff. So I think their naming scheme is all over the place, typically, and harder to understand, at least for me. It's all because my company gives a hell of a bonus every year. And I also get some income from in the form of stock from my company. And so sometimes, not often enough, I have a lot of disposable income. And it had been 10 years since I built my last PC. So I really wanted something top of the line that would last me for another 10 years. Yeah, it's weird. I don't get Nvidia's system for everything. It's just all over the place as far as I'm concerned. But I know to the real Nvidia enthusiast it makes perfect sense, but to me it doesn't. AMD tends to be kind of straightforward. The higher the number, the more powerful it is. At least until they decide to reboot the number system. Because maybe about 10 years ago, they were on the RX 9800 series or something. And then they rebooted the number system and it went down to the 1000 or whatever and in a different generation. I think it was RT 9900 or 9800. Oh, cool. If I can help, I'll try to. Set up a GoFundMe and I'll throw a few dollars that way towards the effort. I avoid NVIDIA as much as possible. Long story. One of the companies I worked for way back in the day made an operating system that was third party. It was really good. Um, Amazing, in fact, even on low powered hardware. And we were working with Voodoo at the time before NVIDIA bought them and made some great video drivers for them. And Voodoo worked with us closely, and ATI, who was bought by AMD later, worked closely with us to make great drivers and make everything as good as possible. But NVIDIA didn't like us. They didn't want to give us any of the information. And so we did our best to make drivers for their video cards as best we could, just by ourselves. And eventually, NVIDIA bought Voodoo and stopped helping us with the drivers. And that just really irritated me. So we went from having this great support and great relationship to nothing overnight. And so I really kind of started hating NVIDIA at that point. And ever since, I've tried to avoid NVIDIA products as much as possible. I think the big deal with the popularity is that, like so many things, there are fanboys of one thing or another. And yeah, in some respects, NVIDIA's video cards are just slightly more powerful than AMD's. And so it's just marketing after that. I mean, are you really going to notice 1 or 2 frames per second difference when you're doing not 100 frames per second in a game? The answer is highly unlikely. And people want to make it out to seem that the frame rate is everything when it comes to a game. And it usually isn't. It usually has no impact whatsoever. Not where I wanted that. Thank you. But NVIDIA, of course, capitalizes on that. And then another thing, during the early days of Bitcoin mining and crypto mining, certain NVIDIA GPUs were better at it than others, and were better at it than AMD GPUs. But AMD GPUs were better than NVIDIA ones in certain things. And so it really depended on what it was in terms of crypto you were doing and where and how. And one way, you would go one way or the other was better. But largely, the fan base and marketing people really took advantage of, or rather, NVIDIA took advantage of marketing and things to exploit that edge. And then putting out toolkits saying that our games were optimized with NVIDIA over anything else, or works best with NVIDIA. That kind of got them in a position of a better reputation, even though it's not necessarily true. Hey Knights, how's it going? Yeah, that is nuts. I never went that bad with Bitcoin mining. Although I'm very sad, relatively speaking, with regards to Bitcoin mining. At one point, I had several Bitcoins that I had mined, and at the time, this was 2012, 2013, maybe even 2011, it wasn't worth anything. I literally used whole Bitcoins for ordering some computer parts. Minor parts, mind you, but still. Because it was only worth like $10 to $20 at most per. Nowadays, 1 Bitcoin is worth, what, $30,000-$40,000? Which is like 25,500 pounds. So, biggest mistake of my Bitcoin mining life was I was part of a mining pool, and when I cashed out, expecting to get like 100th of a Bitcoin at the time, they accidentally sent me a whole Bitcoin, and I was kind enough to contact them and ask them how to return it because, hey, I was trying to be a nice guy, and I did. I sent it back, and they were really grateful. So if I had held on to my Bitcoin, I'd probably have 3 or 4 by now, and assuming I even continued to mine and whatnot. And I probably could have paid my house off. So I'm a little irritated by that fact, but what am I going to do? Because it was literally years that I spent mining Bitcoin in my spare time. And at the time, it was worthless and stayed worthless for a long, long time. Then years go by and it takes off. Of course, mostly what I spent my Bitcoin on was Bitcoin mining equipment, ASICs and other things to mine better. I have heard of people using it to buy pizzas and other random, inexpensive junk that you wouldn't consider an investment. So I feel bad for them. At least I tried reinvesting. Ooh, that's kind of spooky. It could be the TV updating or something if they're USB powered and you have them plugged into like a USB port. Our TVs regularly kind of update on their own. Although usually they ask you if you want to update when you first turn them on. So I'll cross my fingers and hope it's not a ghost or a poltergeist. Just a update coming through. And here I go down a literal rabbit hole, chasing iron. I've thought about trying to get back into Bitcoin mining, but honestly, you have to have too much equipment these days to really and truly make any progress. Too much specialized equipment. It's not even GPUs anymore. And I'm not sure I'm ready to go down that rabbit hole once again. I think you're right. Yeah, it really is. I never technically hit the jackpot with Bitcoin, actually solving the block or whatever it is, the math to actually earn a full Bitcoin myself. And I doubt I ever would have. But being a part of a pool, I was part of doing it multiple times, and so I managed to get a tiny fraction of Bitcoin every single time that occurred. But it really isn't worth it overall. At least not mining. And certainly not mining solo. It's all part of the blockchain. I don't know if I can explain how it works exactly, but basically every time a transaction occurs with Bitcoin or any other cryptocurrency, it submits what's called a block, literally, onto the network. And basically, the math involved in calculating the checksum or the accuracy, the legitimacy of the block is what actually rewards you with Bitcoin or the cryptocurrency. And so it is fake online money. Really and truly, it has no value whatsoever. It has less value than actual paper money or gold money because it's just bits. And it's people who've decided that this has some value and convinced a whole world full of people that it has value. And it really doesn't. All it is saying, hey, I verified this math, or helped verify this math, and so I earned money. But when you calculate the validity of the block, it then creates a new coin, and that's what gets spread to you and whoever else was part of it. And so it's really just something that's literally made up. And so it really is weird. And I would never tell anybody to actually physically invest their money, their hard-earned money, in any cryptocurrency, because A, Bitcoin itself has a limited shelf life. It's designed more or less so that it gets harder and harder and harder to produce a new Bitcoin. That's true, but at least hypothetically, it's backed up by your government's reserve. So in the United States, it's backed up by the Federal Reserve, theoretically with gold or silver or some other hard cash or material item. Once upon a time in the United States, you'd be able to go to the bank and say, I'd like my money's worth of gold, and trade your paper cash for actual gold. There's nothing you can do with a Bitcoin. No one is backing it up. It's just literally bits. And the moment it's determined that it's worthless, it's gone. And it's designed to be harder and harder to create the Bitcoins. And eventually it's going to get so computationally expensive that it's impossible to mine new Bitcoins. And so that'll be the end of it. And I don't think Ethereum and the other cryptocurrencies have that built-in expiration date, but Bitcoin definitely does. Here I am talking about Bitcoin like I'm an expert. Most of my knowledge is years old as well, so some of it likely is out of date. But fundamentally, that's kind of how it works. Mm. Right attitude to have. Be curious loosely, but don't invest heavily in it, especially not like your mortgage or your rent. If you get a couple bucks to kick around and you find an opportunity to buy a couple hundredths of a Bitcoin cheap, and you have nothing better to do with the money, then yeah, go ahead maybe and buy a little. See what happens. See if it goes up or not. But don't invest. I'm convinced it'll be a fad. Because it's not controlled by any government, and the governments are not going to want to let that last for very long. They're happy to tax people right now, but at least the United States is, and they're interested to see how it goes and how long people will buy into it before they might adapt their own technology, their own variant of a currency based on blockchain. And then at that point, they'll probably actively work against all of the cryptocurrencies or formally outlaw it. But that's just my guess. I don't see it sticking around forever. Crisps are a much better investment, in my opinion. At least they fill your belly. Hey, I understood. I'm a barbaric American, but I understood. Yep. And while there are some ATMs where you can buy cryptocurrency these days here in the US, in general, your average store doesn't accept Bitcoin or Ethereum or Namecoin or Dogecoin or any of that. So it's not going to get you far offline. Namecoin is kind of a byproduct of Bitcoin mining. It basically is supposed to give you coins that for free when you mine Bitcoin that can be used to purchase domain names, hypothetically. Or at least domain names that are somehow or another entwined with cryptocurrency. I never figured out actually how to use a name coin, but I know they exist, or at least existed. A Steve coin, hmm, that would be kind of cool. Steve. I think it was down this aisle, and then one over. I'm in. Sign me up for Steve coin. My chosen Steve, of course, will be from Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs. Oh yeah, he is. As are the Winklevoss twins, the former partners of a Facebook idiot, Zuckerberg, or whatever his name is. I love it. I don't watch it enough. But every now and then, I force Spring to watch it. Yep. That guy. In my opinion, the most important part about crypto isn't the actual currency. It's the actual blockchain, which acts as a ledger so that everybody can see a public ledger so that everybody can see whatever transaction has occurred. That's far more useful than the currency. Yeah, but if you don't trust the banks, just take cash and hide it somewhere. People have been doing that for centuries. All it takes is for them to declare it obsolete or find some security flaw in it, which has happened repeatedly before it got to be big, and poof, it'll go away. Out of torches. Yeah, put it in your mattress. Just don't forget that you have it in your mattress. Take it out before you get rid of the said mattress. Is it cliche? Yeah, but I don't know how many thieves actually check mattresses these days because it's so cliche. Yeah, me too, frankly. I sometimes worry that I did do something like that and hide money in a mattress or something years ago, and that I forgot about it. Good idea. Defender of the cash. Attack noodle. I approve of this message. But going back to the value of Bitcoin for a second, can you imagine how devastated anybody who spent a Bitcoin on a pizza would be today, or is today, knowing that they lost effectively tens of thousands of dollars on food in one transaction? Ugh. Time here is 8:39 p.m. Oh, never mind. It is indeed March 1st now, for you. Still a few hours away for us. And time is soup, as Spring frequently says. You are? Awesome. Tell me tomorrow night's lottery numbers. Hmm. I might actually use those as part of a lottery ticket for tomorrow. Those are good guesses. And I think they're actually within range of Powerball, so I might try them. Fair. No, you said 10%. That's the real treasure there. I can't guarantee you that it would happen, but I can at least make the opportunity for it to happen. We can arrange the date. What happens after that is up to you and Roxy. She wouldn't, scratch you or anything, but she would probably walk away and come find me because that's what she does. We'll load you up with snacks, and then she'll come. Either that or hand you a plate of fish. Because, at least with that cliche that cats love fish, that fits her completely. No, we're all peasants. She'd be on board with that. She'd accept you as another one. Alright, looks like I'm stuck at the moment, so I guess I will go on back up to the surface and continue with my build out. I am just chief of her peasants. That's it. I am a peasant just like everyone else. Copper. We don't want the copper. Or the flint for the moment. But you load her up with a few snacks, she'll be right there for you. I'm convinced of it. Yeah, I haven't. At least not tonight. It's been a few weeks since I've died. And I hope to keep that streak going for a very long time. Alright, let's see if I can do something with these eggs. Come on, chicken. Chicken. Nah. Fine, no chickens. Actually, no. This one. There. Now, this one. Alright, I have enough materials that I should be able to make some decent progress. But first things first. We get outside and lock the house up again. Uh, Apparently a skeleton was here and died. In a way, I'm being very cautious with this playthrough so far. I'm not even trying to approach enemies. I'm not taking any chances with anything. Even this tunnel, while as open as it is right now, I'll eventually add some safe rooms and probably beds in certain places so that I don't have to deal with night and I don't have to deal with anything running up on me. Sure, a spider can get in, but at worst, for anything else, what I'd have to deal with is um, arrows from a random skeleton here or there. Bring seems to be having fun. She's been distracted all evening, trying to get into the Red Dead roleplay game and get her microphone set up. And so that's why she's popped in here for a moment and popped out. And I think she's probably up there having fun now that she's been able to get her microphone working. See, there she is. Hey, I didn't want you there. Yeah, might as well use that one. Ah, work with me here, guys. All right. I suck in making diagonal corners, so we'll just make a 90-degree turn. Hey, kitty. Almost as if your kitty detected our discussion about the cats, or rather, Roxy, and her will, whether she would accept pets from a stranger or not. And the answer is yes, she would. It's a tunnel to protect me as I go from my little base out to where I'm going to be building a mob farm out somewhere in the water over there. Far enough away from land that I shouldn't have to worry about too many spawns, too many things just randomly spawning and interfering with my spawner. So maybe somewhere out in the middle of this water, but I think this is the beginning of the ocean, or maybe it's over there a little bit. So I'm building a safe tunnel. Safe way for me to get over here to it without risking dying at any given moment at the hands of a skeleton or a zombie or something else. And I'm going to build safe rooms where I can just wait out the night. And just generally be something of a loser. So there. Nope, wrong spot. There. Yeah, that works. I've never done anything like this before, so it's taken me a fair amount of time to come up with and design and actually build, of course. That's not where I wanted that. Come here. Well, thank you. I have no idea if this is actually ever going to be completed, because I could get blown up at any given moment. But I'm trying to make it work. At least no zombie will be able to walk up on me. And this should buy me some time from even a creeper to get away. To notice it and get away. Hmm. And right now, I'm just going for actually building it as opposed to making it look good. Because who knows if I'll live long enough to ever actually make this look good. That's kind of a tall order for me. If Spring was in this, she'd make it look good instantly. But, as I've said many times before, I'm a digger, not a builder. So for me to even do this is something of a miracle. Uh, Fine. Yep, there was a kitty in my tunnel. The secret word tonight is kitty. What I probably should do is just make it solid walls on all sides. Then I wouldn't need to worry about uh, having a safe room or anything. Work has been moderately good. Some of the repairs that have really been bugging me over the last few months have been going pretty smoothly, but still have a lot of them left to do, and a lot more upcoming because of the defective parts that we're going to have to swap out at some point. That process is still being worked out. But slowly but surely, we're getting there. And once we actually have a solution, it'll be even better. Reclaim my blocks now that I've built a tunnel all the way over here. How's work with you? How's your class? Long, 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 I can imagine. I saw an ad earlier today when I was on my way into work for, I think it was University or People's University or something like that. An online school that's 100% free for business administration and IT and something else. I think education. And I thought about it for a moment, thought about looking it up and trying to go for a master's degree, but I came to my senses. Number one, there's no way in hell it would actually be 100% free, at least in my opinion. At the very least, you'd probably have to buy books for a class, which is understandable. And I don't have money for books. I don't have time to take any classes at this point, so it just was an interesting idea, but it would be bonkers for me to do that right now. If it is legitimate and it says that it was accredited, but I couldn't see whoever it was accredited by on the site that they had, at least not on my phone, then maybe it is worth it. It might be worth checking out at some point, but right now, yeah, I'll pass. Might be a good way to get out of paying back my student loans by being enrolled as a full-time student, but yeah. For now, I'll pass. Why did I do that? I don't need those. What I need are those. Nice. I keep thinking I should try to figure out how to advertise something, but I really have nothing to advertise. I don't sell any products. I don't make any products. Closest thing I have to a product is my stream and my channel. And advertising that would be weird. Probably a good idea, or at least not a bad one, but it would be weird. I still have that sand? Yeah, okay. Hmm. Yeah, it's probably not a bad idea. But I also admit do not know how to market myself or anything else. Many years ago, I used to work at Computer City as a salesperson. And I wasn't bad at it, but I would hardly say I was good at it. I had a few customers that would come back and look for me repeatedly. They had their own businesses, and they would come back and look for me and buy strictly from me, and I appreciated that. But I didn't get a commission anyway. But they bought from me because I would tell them basically what they needed to know, and never try to sell them more than what they needed, which a lot of people would do. I was kind of a terrible salesperson, but at the same time, kind of a good one. One customer in particular, I remember, I don't remember doing it what he said I did in the first place, but it was consistent with what I would do. And it was when he first came in looking to buy a computer, he didn't know anything about computers. This was a long time ago, back in 1992 or 93. So probably before some of you were born. But he didn't know anything about computers, and he wanted to get one for his business, and he didn't know how to use it or anything else. Instead of selling a computer to him right then and there, I took him over to the magazine section, showed him a few magazines that he should buy, and read about them, to learn about computers before he bought anything. And a few months later, he came back looking specifically for me. He had come into the store a few times, looking for me, refusing to buy anything from anybody until I was there. And he bought like $5,000 or $10,000 worth of computer equipment from me because I told him to buy the magazines to learn what he was doing, learn about computers before he invested his money in them. And he reminded me of that, and it made me feel really good about myself. Because, to be perfectly honest, I hated selling anything. I hate selling things that sell themselves, like Girl Scout cookies. And there were some things that I've sold over the years that did basically sell themselves, but I hate doing it. And so I hate marketing myself. I hate selling things. If someone's going to give me money for something, I'd much rather it be on their own. Just, hey, here, have some money, rather than selling them a product. Now I've done it. This is the exact sort of situation I was building this tunnel to try to avoid. But at least they can only come at me from one direction. Now, if the whole safe room thing was complete, that would not have posed as much of a problem. Come on, get in there. Hey. Well, so far I didn't die, thankfully. And in any case, I hope you get a good night's rest. And I've got to put doors on the end of this, so that people can't just stroll in the middle of the night. And there's a creeper. All right. That worked out. I hope it's a quick night for you. Of course, the problem with my plan of coming back from the outside is that I am no longer on ground level over here. It's already almost middle of the day already. Already. I just got back here. So I guess that proves exactly how far this place is. Beginning to take me a good part of the day to get to it. All right. I'm also very glad I remembered to eat. Got a little space between me and the zombies and ate something instead of trying to fight them. Yeah, I don't normally think that clearly when I'm in the middle of a fight. Excuse me. And thus why I try to steer clear of PvP as much as possible in everything. Ah, that's probably a good idea. Frankly, I struggle to even just maintain my 401k. And I acknowledge that my time grows short. Hmm, that's something. It's a lot of work, one way or another. If I could afford to do so, I would put a lot more money into my 401k than I have. But frankly, at this point in my life, I'm living paycheck to paycheck. So anything I can put into the 401k is a luxury. It's a government, well, not really government program, but it's kind of a government program here in the United States to save money for retirement. Basically, your employer can deduct so much of your paycheck, a certain percentage, for instance, that will then go into a savings account tax free until you retire, and then you get that money effectively on a regular basis to help you survive in retirement. But it does have its limitations, and there's limits on how much you can deposit every year, and well, based on a percentage. Kinda, but by default, you don't get pensions in this country. And a 401k program, the money set aside will collect interest while you actually continue to work to build it up. I don't know when it first appeared on the scene, but I've had one off and on with jobs since the late 90s. But I've had so many jobs since the late 90s. And had to transfer from one place to another or just plain check or receive all of the money over the years. They can these days. They call it rollover, but I don't know how that works. I've never actually managed to roll over my 401k from one job to another. Typically, my jobs have been, in certain cases, so far apart that they just go ahead and disperse the money to me. In which case, I had to pay a penalty and lost a lot of the money. Not that I ever had a lot of money before in my 401k before my current job. A lot of it, yeah. In some cases, I lost it because I needed to withdraw to pay bills, pay money that I owed a cable company once. My first 401k only got up to about $1,000 in the 1 year that I managed to have it and contribute at the job that I had. And I left that job to go to another job, um, much better paying job, much better job, period, and left my apartment. And I left a cable box in the apartment that was supposed to be returned to my cable company, obviously. And they were supposed to come and pick it up, but they never did. And then they charged me $500 for it. And so I didn't have that money at the time, so I had to close out my 401k to get the money to pay them. Yeah, really and truly, you kind of do. You have to have a good job to really maximize your 401k, and not every company offers a 401k. My sister was at a was police worked for the police, blah blah blah, um, in our hometown, and they switched their pension over from a traditional pension to a 401m or some weird thing where the police department made interest on the money of their pension and also could make withdrawals from their pension, and there was nothing the officers could do about it. And in fact, the city more or less wasted a lot of their money and lost a lot of their money. And so a lot of the police officers didn't have the money for retirement like they expected to have. That might be what it was. It is. It was grossly unfair, and the police officers had no say in the matter. But in general, in concept, a 401k plan is a good idea, at least here in the US. It could be better, but it could be a lot worse. That's cool. I wish you a lot of success with it, and I hope it works out. I need to do something else as well. My day job pays the bills, barely. But really and truly, I need some second stream of income. Something other than buying lottery tickets and hope they pay off. That makes sense. And I hope it does work out for you. Oh good, I do have an axe. If I can just use it. Alright, I'm going to take that as a sign to get back to base. Must be those vines. Yeah. These days, if you can't trust your employer, especially with regards to your retirement savings, you really can't trust very much at all. And there have been so many companies that have just screwed people over with with things like that. Oh, we're putting it aside in your 401k, but you can't check the balance or anything. Just trust us. We put the money there. I worked for a company that would probably have done something scandalous like that. In fact, one company I worked for in 2003 to 2004 was literally being investigated by the SEC and FBI for insider trading, for being a scam, and a bunch of other stuff. They eventually were under a consent decree and had to show all of their records on a regular basis to the FBI and the SEC. And the sad thing is, truthfully, they really were a scam. Technically, they were providing a service and a product, but it was so scammy that it was unbelievable. I got laid off from that job, and I was happy to get laid off. I guess I may as well do some mining. I need equipment. Need more blocks. Yeah. Although, frankly, sometimes I question even those. I can do a lot with them. I managed to survive this century because of those skills, but sometimes I wonder if it's even worth it. Sometimes it just doesn't seem like I'm making enough with these tech skills. Like I should be making a lot more. I feel like no matter how much I work and what kind of company I work for, I'm making them far more rich than I'm getting rich. But I can't come up with anything to do to make myself money. So I just continue to make other people rich, or richer. Just like the average working slob, like everybody else in the world. I keep thinking maybe if I can come up with some idea to develop a website or some product or something, maybe I can make a lot of money off of it. But I can't come up with any ideas. I just have no ideas whatsoever. You know what? Rather than make this tunnel wider or longer, I'll make it a little higher. And that'll still give us a lot of blocks to work with. Ducky Spring said, check Discord. Look at PJ's Discord in Red Dead chat. That seems like a good idea. I've been studying a lot about how to do SEO with, I can't really say studying, but reading how to do SEO with HTML5. And so when I finally get back to feeling like working on a website or coding a website, maybe I'll actually be able to put some of that to use and at least get some traffic together for my projects that I have been working on from time to time. Maybe they'll get more traffic because of it. Cool. Hope it works for you too. And me. Exactly. For the most part, it's a matter of putting in the right sort of tags and putting the content in the right formats and just the right way, right keywords, right place, right time, right everything as usual. But it seems like it should be a lot simpler than other forms of marketing, or at least somewhat. It definitely seems like it has some greater potential because if you can get the right keywords, right formats, right everything, it'll bring in a flood of traffic, and you can either have ads on your site or from like DoubleClick, AdMob, at Google AdSense, which are all pretty much Google, to be honest, or some other ad engine, and just roll in the money. Heck, even if you sell the ads yourself rather than go through an ad service, you can still bring in a ton of money on a website if you have just the right combination of keywords and formatting, which is never something I've been able to figure out. Maybe my content has always just been too niche or boring. Yeah, that works. I need to figure out how to do that myself. I don't know how I missed falling down there. I mean, it wouldn't have been fatal, but I don't know how I missed that. Go back over here, make some more tools, and probably go to sleep. Yeah, there's a spider outside somewhere. Over the years, I've come up with some good ideas here and there, but didn't figure them out as a product or anything, or how to make money with them. I forgot to make my tools. I'm an idiot. But I need to see the potential more in a lot of the stuff I do, I guess. Instead of just seeing it as something as a fun little hobby, see how it can be an actual business. An uncle of mine, many years ago, um, asked me if I knew how to make a program to calculate how much lumber he would need as a contractor to build a certain structure up to um, regulations just by, for instance, drawing a square on screen. And I didn't know how to do it at the time, but I've been thinking about that a lot some 20 something years later, and I think I could do it now, but would there be any market value to doing that? And there might be. The question is, do I want to invest the time to try to make such a program? And then try to market it somehow or another? Or get input from contractors? How far down that rabbit hole do I want to go, you know? Especially for something that, in the end, I probably A, won't finish, or B, won't bother to market in any way, shape, or form. I guess, fundamentally, what I need to do is take more of a chance on me. And maybe that'll lead to something more than what I have. Opportunity to be my own boss, or at least control my own destiny when it comes to a job and what I do. Which would be nice. Maybe it'll secure my retirement. Of course, the hard part is getting the courage to do it. A lot comes from inspiration, but a lot more is courage. Alright, we got about 20 minutes officially left in the stream. I don't know how much more of this building I'm up for tonight. But I have an idea. what I'm going to do is try to connect my little base here to a spot where my tunnel will intersect it up top. One, two, three, 4, 5. One, two, three. Four. 5, I think. Ah, son of a... And these guys just literally popped in. Really? How you know the game is trying to kill you? All right. In the revelation that there are now suddenly pillagers upstairs, I think that'll do it for the night. I just cannot handle that right now. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up. So thank you everyone for joining me tonight in my chaotic discussion of Bitcoin, retirement plans, and working for myself. And we'll be back on Sunday with Baldur's Gate 3 and probably Uncharted again on Tuesday. I might try to squeeze in another stream on Saturday if I'm not busy or if we don't have a family over, as we're halfway expecting this weekend. So we'll see. But in the meantime, I hope you have a great night, and I will see you again soon. Take care and talk to you soon. Bye.
I will be the last to fall. I won't shed a tear for them to see. I won't have your name to call. 'Cause I will be the last to fall.